I was caught in traffic again the other day, wedged in congestion on the interstate in a single-lane construction zone, an infinity of reflective construction barrels. It was an endless work zone, where no tangible work could be seen in progress. Tensions among my fellow drivers and me were growing high. On this day I was out for a test drive of my dented, rusting project car. I'd recently resurrected the worn, smoking engine, and despite the fact that it was burning some oil and backfiring occasionally on acceleration, it was actually running pretty good. All was well, until we got to the construction zone. Like the nozzle of a giant shop vac, me and the rest of the collected humanity driving on that road, on that day, at that time, were funneled into an automotive intimacy none of us had anticipated and even fewer of us would choose. My battered project car always draws reactions from others that are never ambiguous. Earlier in the trip, I was getting gas at a service station. A pinched-looking man, a little older than me, pulled up beside me at the pump. He was driving his new electric hybrid. The odd machine hummed like a UFO. The balding, wire-rimmed, bespectacled man eyed me with an expression typically reserved for cockroaches crossing the kitchen floor at night. "Do you feel safe driving that?" he asked. "As safe as one can feel driving an old car like this," I said. Is all he said, eyeing me and the car critically. "I always drive like I'm strapped to the front bumper," I offered. "How much fuel does it use? What sort of gas mileage does it get?" I answered honestly. "That's just terrible," he declared, and then rolled up the window and motored off with an electric whine of self-righteousness. I felt unsettled. It's never fun to be judged, particularly by random strangers. Out on the interstate, I encountered another driver. Bearing up behind me, weaving aggressively through the gathering traffic, was a huge, lifted, domestically built pickup truck, painted glossy, stealth black. I could only see the glare of its hot headlights as it accelerated up behind me. I was the latest and nearest obstruction this overwhelmed motorhead had to conquer. He surged up within inches of my rusty rear bumper and began weaving in the lane, impatiently side to side like a wasp ready to sting. I had nowhere to go, and this driver seemed to take deep and personal offense at my obstruction of his path. The engine of my worn little car began to ping, and the temperature gauge rose, like me beginning to sweat from this aggressive pressure from behind. I punched the accelerator pedal to the floor, an earnest effort of good faith to attempt to get out of the way of this dominating pickup truck driver. The project car groaned and belched out a plume of thick, oily smoke in nervous response to my desperate request for speed. The driver behind me laid on a set of air horns in angry response, nearly launching me through the cracked and delaminated windshield. He assumed I was doing all of this on purpose. When a gap appeared in traffic, this driver roared past me with the high-pitched whine of the oversized turbo diesel engine. He cut right in front of me and mashed on his brakes. Narrowly avoiding a rear collision with this voluntary adversary of the road, time slowed down, affording me an unexpected opportunity to study the back of his truck. My eyes were met with a textual arsenal of angry, declarative bumper stickers. "Keep honking. I'm reloading," read one. "We, the people, are pissed and have you in our crosshairs," read another. "Don't tread on me," threatened a third. There were other bumper stickers that were too salty to repeat in polite company. In the back window of the dark-windowed cab was a die-cut sticker depicting an array of assault rifles and oversized handguns with a caption, "This is my family." No sooner had I processed this textual assault of overt and cynical hostility, the pickup truck driver pounded the accelerator. eclipsing me in a thick, all-consuming cloud of swirling, oily diesel exhaust. With an angry roar, he tore off down our federally funded highway to the next slowest vehicle in the long line of traffic. The construction zone surprised us all. By some strange turn of fate, I found myself behind the pinched driver in the electric hybrid, and behind me, by some twisted irony, loomed the aggressive black pickup truck, riding my rusted bumper again. We were stuck in the single construction lane for tedious mile after mile, the hybrid driver righteously schooling me on what driving for responsible fuel economy looked like, and the gun-loving motorhead revving and weaving behind me, leaving plumes of angry, oily smoke behind him like visualized curses and dark insults. I was caught squarely in the middle, between these two individual drivers and the extremes of view they represented. They were far opposite shores of the cold contemporary political ocean that seems to separate our modern society. Ultra-conservative behind me, and judgmental uber-liberal ahead, with me struggling in the narrowing contested middle between these two extremes. In this unsettled modern age, it appears to me that both are really the same core of aggressively defended insecurity. Both hide behind elaborate and garishly painted masks of rigorously espoused extreme dogma and unquestioningly devoted jingoism. It's the ideological equivalent of a snake devouring its own tail, ultimately an exercise in pathetic self-defeat, each side unwilling to compromise, unwilling and deliberately unable to meet in the middle to find a concurrent way forward. We're all stuck on the same road together. Why can't we drive together towards a commonly pursued destination, rather than battling in opposition on the immediate mile before us? I'm searching for an exit ramp, somewhere to slow down and cool this raging machine, to regroup before the whole thing blows. However, there appears to be no exit ramp in the immediate offering. So I remain wedged between extremes, mile after anxious mile, hot machinery ticking ominously, caught somewhere in the uncomfortable and forgotten middle.